Hey everyone, finished watching the next SPD episode, Wired Part 2. Kruger and Kat are worried about the Gorodon monster. Bridge feels conflicted about how the Rangers treated Sophie. Doggy questions the Rangers about her, and Sky explains that regulations state anyone deemed to be a danger are to be banished from the premises, whatever. So they banished her. Sky then corrects himself, saying, banished it. Doggy demands they find and bring her back. The Rangers go to Piggy to ask if he's seen Sophie. The aliens at his diner all run away at the sight of SPD, and the Rangers wonder why they always do that. They're the monsters, after all. Piggy explains that to them, humans are the monsters. He looks at the missing poster of Sophie and says she looks human, but they call her a cyborg. Isn't she more to you than circuits and wires, he asks. Piggy puts the poster up, but insists he hasn't seen her. Sophie, at the moment, is trying to escape Velko. Piggy sees her run by, and Velko demands to know where she is. Piggy at first pretends he didn't see her, but when threatened, he points under a table. Velko uses a device to stun Sophie, and he takes her away. Piggy feels bad, but quickly gets over it. Sophie is hooked up to a machine and used to control Gorodon. The Rangers berate themselves for how they treated Sophie. Bridge suddenly realizes something. When they first encountered Velko, he specifically said he was looking for something. A Series 1 processor, hyper-intelligent encryptor, Sophie. They realize why she was targeted. Piggy shows up and tells them what happened and where Sophie was taken. They fight their way through Crybots and get to Velko. He activates Gorodon. It bursts up through the ground in the middle of the city. Kat sends out the Zords. The Rangers form the Megazord and battle Gorodon. Sophie manages to break free, causing Velko to lose control of Gorodon. She's cornered, but is able to send out a distress call. She uses a highly adjusted pitch that Kruger can hear. He makes it to her location and morphs. He traps Velko in a containment card and rescues Sophie. Kat activates the SPD base's Zord mode to help stop Gorodon. Kruger orders the Rangers back to base. Sophie says she can finish recalibrating the computers and allow the base to become the Delta Command Megazord. With this powerful new Zord, they defeat Gorodon. Later, Sky apologizes to Sophie, and we learn that she's going to be working on SPD's computer systems in another quadrant. She's happy to not have to hide who she is, so she can help to the fullest of her abilities. Grum, meanwhile, is furious and turns Mora back to her true form, which turns out to be an adult woman who looks absolutely nothing like Mora. This episode is a massive improvement over the previous. There's a bit of a course correction with the Rangers questioning themselves about what they did, and while it doesn't fix how they acted, at least the realization of what they did was quick. For some reason, Sky is seemingly singled out as the main source of the conflict, even though it was all the Rangers being boneheads. These two episodes feel completely different. The first was clunky and lacked focus, while this one is easily up to the quality of the earlier episodes of SPD. Piggy's conversation with the Rangers is eloquent, though it makes the Rangers seem oblivious and a bit empty-headed not to realize how they appear to the aliens. On one hand, I appreciate the message being conveyed, but on the other, it's to the degradation of the Rangers' intelligence. Sophie is referred to as many contradictory things. For a sci-fi show, the jumbling of terminology is very distracting. Cyborgs are commonly thought of as biological organisms with robotic enhancements. A good example is RoboCop. RoboCop was a human man. After he was murdered, robotic parts were used to rebuild his body, while what was left of his human body was also present, except his left arm. Long story. Another example of a cyborg is Cyborg from Teen Titans. He too was human, but almost died before being restored with robotic parts. The way Sophie is referred to and treated is more like an android, which is commonly accepted as an entirely artificial life form made to mimic human attributes. An example of an android is Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation. He was created alongside several others to resemble his builder. While he can perform many human actions, he's completely artificial and not alive in the same way biological life forms are. Power Rangers has mixed up terms before in the case of, say, the Cyborg Rangers of Lightspeed Rescue. In that instance, though, whether they were cyborgs or not wasn't really a focal point. The word cyborg may have just been being used because it sounded cool. Also, there's a fan theory that there were biological components used in their construction. Gorodon isn't a terribly interesting monster, but it leads to the introduction of the Delta Command Megazord, and I like this Megazord. It looks like a cross between the Blue Centurion's Robo Racer and the Solar Zord from Lightspeed Rescue. Mora's secret is revealed. Her true form is that she's actually a completely different actress. I don't care for the change. Mora was such a fun and unique character, and now we have Elsa 2.0. Maybe she'll make a better impression on me this time around, but in the past, I remember her being an ultimately disappointing addition. This episode was a great surprise. Hopefully, the other lows of this season are accompanied by some positives. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
Humans, you're so ethnocentric.